What's your big takeaway from this year's summit, your first as president?
I think my big takeaway from this year is the power of hope. That was a consistent theme from the speaker dinner through day one, where we were laying the foundations, and even when talking about political violence, talking about concrete interventions and steps you could take to reduce that risk, talking about models you could use to prevent violence. And then day two was all success stories. What can this look like when it works?
In past summits, there was always, the verbiage was always, we want solutions, we're working on solutions. It seemed like this year those solutions started to appear.
Absolutely. So at this summit, we had multiple working groups sharing draft deliverables, be it a toolkit, a manual, all different resources from our working groups, taking resources from around the globe. And the core competencies for behavioral threat assessment teams, they've really cataloged all of the resources around the world to help people upskill in that field and learn to do that work more effectively. And so we were delighted to share concrete programs, products, and tools at this summit.
This year there were a couple of sessions that we've not seen before. One on political violence and how to prevent that. Another on college campus protests. Talk to me a little bit about those. Were they successful?
The feedback I got on both of those panels was very positive. For concrete interventions you can take to reduce the risk of political violence, it was essential that we address that this year in the aftermath of two recent assassination attempts against former President Trump, one of which occurred just miles from the convention center where this summit is held in Pittsburgh. And so we wanted to meet that moment and give the audience, reeling in the aftermath of that political violence and frankly fearing future political violence just 2 weeks from now, tools they could use to reduce the risk of political violence in their communities.
Eradicate Hate is now an organization. It's not simply an event, an annual event. How will that alter next year's summit?
Already, we have 11 working groups, and I can't tell you how many people have approached me in the last couple days saying, I've got a great idea for another one. We put a form on our website so that people could sign up to join these working groups and continually bring in new ideas and new perspectives. And many people have told me they've joined those conversations as well. We're going to carry those working groups forward into the next year. We've got these draft work products that several working groups presented at the summit this year, and we'll work over the next year to finalize those and really get them out to all summit participants and practitioners in the field. We'll also see at the next summit opportunities to report on how those work products are making an impact. So this year we were reporting on the concept. Next year we can report on the impact of all of the summit programs and work products.
If you had to quickly summarize this year's summit, how would you do so?
This year's summit focused on foundations and models to prevent hate-filled violence, success stories, what it looks like to prevent hate-filled violence in practice, and then the roles that any individual can play in preventing hate-filled violence.